Have you ever heard of a buyer presenting a pre-qualification letter when they present an offer, and it goes under contract, it goes into pending to 30, 45 days later to find out that they get denied a mortgage? See, a lot of people are confused about how does this happen? How could somebody have a pre-qual letter, that's pre-qualification letter, from a bank that says they are pre-approved or pre-qualified all the way up to $400,000, then they cannot get a loan in the end. So I want to just share with you, there's a difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved. Pre-qualified is simple. I'll keep it simple. I'm not a banker, so if you want more in-depth knowledge, you could talk to them, but let me just keep this simple so you can understand. Pre-qualified is nothing more than a verbal conversation that has transpired between a prospective buyer and a mortgage professional. The mortgage professional asks them a few questions. What is your income? How much is your bills? How is your credit? How is your credit? You see, this is a verbal conversation where the buyer has told them things. Oh, I make $300,000 a year. I have very little expenses and my credit is great. And then the mortgage professional says, well, based on that information, I know it's not verified, but if I was to verify and that information was true, then you are pre-qualified to purchase up to X amount of dollars. So basically, it's a verbal conversation that goes between a mortgage professional and a prospective buyer, and the mortgage professional has to rely on that information, but it has not been verified at this moment. Now, pre-approved is a little bit different. That's when they've had this verbal conversation, they've put that information on an application, they've submitted the application to the underwriter within the bank. The underwriter has then verified everything. They went back to the buyer and says, okay, could you verify with bank records or pay stubs, could you verify that you earn the amount that you stated? Can you verify that your expenses are only blank as you stated? Let's pull a credit report so we don't have to take your word for what your credit is. We can actually verify it from, the credit reporting agencies. And then we can also call your employment to verify that you are employed and in good standing at that particular establishment, that business. So that's the difference, is one is verified and one is just kind of a verbal conversation and taking one's word for it. It's interesting though, a lot of times that buyers will state some things, but they may leave out a few things. And a lot of times I think they just forget or they just don't know it's information that the mortgage professional needs. So they neglect to mention it, and those happen to be those simple things. An example would be they just bought a new car and they didn't think it really mattered, but they bought a new car. Now all of a sudden their credit went down because they have more debt, or their debt to income ratio has shifted. They neglected to give that one piece of data to the mortgage professional, and that could be the one reason that they were denied. So I just wanted to share this because I see a lot of frustrations in the marketplace where, a seller will agree to a contract with a buyer and then it falls through, and then they complain, well, how could it fall through? How could they not get a mortgage if they've been pre-qualified? So when you are looking to hire a real estate agent, you really need to hire a real estate professional that understands these things. Even real estate agents themselves sometimes think a pre-qualification letter is good as gold. And no, I don't think that. I do think it's very important, but when I get a pre-qualification, I look at it carefully. Sometimes I call the other agent and I ask them additional questions. Sometimes I'll get permission to call their mortgage professional and ask the mortgage professional certain questions. And in the event that I don't feel good about it, I might build additional protections or contingencies within the sales agreement that protects my seller, that in the event this drags along too long before verification of their qualifications is done, then you have a right to terminate the agreement. So my job is to protect you, make sure I get you the best price with the least convenience or inconvenience throughout the transaction. Hopefully this information is found helpful. I'm Greg Harrelson with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. At any time, I'd love to work with you, offer you some information, do anything I can to earn your business. Thank you so much and have a great day.